Coming up, a Nickelodeon Studios update.
Welcome to what might be the sloppiest video ever made.
Constables put their kids up for adoption will not be seen at this time in order that we may bring you this even sadder orphan of a show.
Open up your picture page. It's time to watch Bill Cosby do a picture page with you.
There you are, and here I am, and I want to introduce you to a couple of my friends. This is Wellington, the wiggly worm.
And then your big toe swells up in your underpants.
That's how I was wrong?
That's how you were wrong.
Yeah, what's the matter, loser?
John, the one without the glasses, and they might be giants.
Help! Mark Summers is attacking me!
Control, out of control, out of control, control, out of control.
Get on with it!
Sitting by the bar and I just got goosebumps. R.L. Stein on the rocks with some yak. Got me acting like an animaniac. Talking to two cougars, real monsters.
When we last left Nickelodeon Studios, it was bumming around Orlando, dominating early 90s television.
Nick is cool! Nick is slimy! Nick is
Pissed off because...
The network showed real green spunk and was a booming success on multiple levels. Plus, it had the added bonus of having a destinational hub you could obsess over and actually visit, even ushering your dumb parents through safely.
Outlander! We have your woman! Fear and respect that escalator.
Eric Kubiak. This morning, just another kid in a theme park. Now, Nickelodeon Game Lab inventor.
Let's use the slingshots and the rubber chickens. Put a kid in a bowl with the giant fly swatter. Use the blindfolds. Now, let him rip.
Did I mention the walls? They got cool walls! And it get big!
Nickelodeon helped turn Florida into a swampland of telepromotional desire, and they were rolling in the GAC money, meaning Nick Studios was at its peak, even filming their first original Nick at Night series there, Hi Honey, I'm Home.
Hi, honey, I'm home.
Oh, I forgot I'm not married.
If you ever get a craving for something sloppy, there's no better place to go than Nickelodeon's own GAC Kitchen. Air-tasting GAC meisters from all over the world come to sample some of our slimiest concoctions and then decide whether or not they are up to the highest Double Dare standards.
It's time for Nickelodeon Studios Update.
Wave, everybody.
The Nickelodeon studio itself was so cool, so brightly colored. The big slime guys are outside. And I just loved seeing the kids come by. One wall of almost every room in the Nick Studios was made of glass. And tours would go by so that kids and parents and families and whoever could see how the studio worked.
Nickelodeon first one on the map. Sir, are you videotaping over there at the end?
Hold it, whoa! Look, friend, you are not bringing that ugly kid-filled mob in here.
Hi, I'm Keenan. Hi, I'm Kel. Welcome to Nickelodeon Studios, Florida.
Many series utilized this location within Universal Studios to film their Nick series, giving guests the chance to give up their ride time to take a pie in the face on television with What Would You Do?
There are a bunch of parents out here at Universal Studios in Florida who should be pretty flattered. Take a look.
Clean your room. Clean my room! My mom says my dad's a real sex machine.
Kids now have the opportunity to see their favorite celebrities win awards for Favorite Animal Star and scream at them nonstop for 2 hours at anything they say.
Chili, that's a ball washer, not a sock washer. A golf ball is clean, but my socks are dirty. Gotta wash.
Or you can go ahead and try your hand at one of the many intense and confusing Nickelodeon game shows.
Hit the start button. That's not, he's got to hit the start button. It's right above his head. It's right up there he is, and he started round 2 of Ogalusa's Pit.
These Nickelodeon staging and crew people have to think fast, cause we've double dared them to build the Total Panic set in record time. Starting with a bare soundstage, they rush in and out to install and adjust and readjust the lights and audio systems. I'm exhausted. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks, Harvey. You know, the sets that look so great on TV are usually just large, painted pieces of wood.
Hold it! The tour is over. You jerks. You don't even know how to put a set up. Oh, no.
That's great. You know, Ross, you may be right. And by the way, those painted pieces, they're called flats. Now you know why.
You fool!
Here at Nickelodeon, getting a new show to you, our viewers, is sometimes a long and difficult process. Once the show is shot and edited, it's sent across the country by courier to our network center. Many times the tape can get unwound, damaged in transit, or simply lost. Since your viewing experience is so important to us, we've hired New York Mets pitcher Turk Wendell to make our show deliveries.
You'll be sorry when all your teeth fall out.
There was actually a tour at Nick Studios, Florida, where you could see some of these shows getting made.
Right.
So that's why, yeah.
Right, and so you're actually above there. The tour goes above, like 3 stories up, and there's a glass window, and it's soundproof. So the tour can actually look down on the soundstage, see the studio audience, and the show being made. And every now and then, I would disappear when I would go grab Melissa or Danny Tamborelli or somebody like that, and we would go up in the tour, and we would stand with the people in the tour, looking down, and we go, that show sucks.
This is Nickelodeon Studios. Want it? It could be yours. If you win the Studio Cheap for a Day instant win game, you could make the first world headquarters for kids your personal empire. Look inside specially marked boxes of Kellogg's Fruit Loops. 2 grand prize winners will each get a week-long trip for 4 to Nickelodeon Studios at Universal Studios, Florida, with airfare, hotel, a limo, and $1,000. At Studio Cheap, you'll have all the Universal Studios rides and shows in your backyard. Plus, you'll meet stars, appear on Nickelodeon, and take over the network for the shows you want.
Sweet, I want to see the episode of Rugrats where Chucky's mom dies. Then I want to see the Ren and Stimpy show where Powdered Toast Man burns the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, followed by the complete, fully animated episode of Fake Dad. Ooh, then I want to see the You Can't Do That on Television episode about adoption.
It's written, directed, produced, and performed by people who know absolutely nothing about adoption. And of course, haven't bothered to find out, right? Well, so what else is new, right?
The Invader Zim episode where he's eating kids' organs. Then any episode of Hey Arnold that focuses on Helga's abusive home life. Ooh, then any episode of Mr. Meaty. That episode of Cat Dog where dog won't brush his teeth, so Cat pulls himself up into dog's throat and then comes out of his mouth to brush his teeth, and then dog gets mad, so he shits him back out. Then top it all off with a little Crybaby Lane. Get to the legends. Here's a bit about being on Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show.
So once again, I read an ad in the Orlando Sentinel calling for game show kids at Nickelodeon, and if you lived in the Central Florida area then, you had a 90% chance of getting onto a show. They would call kids from that area almost exclusively, which makes those prize packages to Orlando look pretty weak. You know, everybody had to go to Nick Studios to audition, and in order to find the audition, you had to be in town long enough to read about it. So, really, if you wanted to be on Nickelodeon, you had to be in Florida for at least 3 months. So we entered Universal through the back, and a guy named Bernie took us on the Bernie-mobile to an open studio where they had us do Simon Says and Crab Walk and whatever. Weeks later, I got this in the mail, and it was off to the races on an exciting new show no one had ever heard of.
In Nickelodeon's never-ending quest to give you what you want comes Legends of the Hidden Temple, the first game show that lets kids live out legendary adventures. It's physical, meta, physical. It's mental. Monumental. Every show's a different legend, so you never know what to expect. Except a lot of action, a lot of adventure, and maybe a hero or two. Don't miss Legends of the Hidden Temple every weekend at 6:30, 5:30 Central. Only on Nickelodeon.
Oh my god, this is gonna be painful. I still won't forget when we entered that room and saw just how huge the temple was, and the moat, a giant crowd of people. None of us had seen this before, and there were no clues that this was going to be an Indiana Jones-style game show. We were just blown away. Mark Summers was nowhere to be seen, so we were thrown off completely.
Olmec knows the legend behind each of the treasures in his temple. Which one are we going to hear about today?
The legend of the medal of Sir Edmund Hillary.
Well, one of these 6 teams will have a chance to retrieve the medal. Will it be the Red Jaguars? Run over here and hit the gong. Go! Who's first? The other person can walk across it without falling too far.
Yeah, pull your pants up higher, kid.
And we're still waiting for 2 more to start Barracudas.
Go, young me, go! Oh boy, that hurt my hand so bad.
Red Jaguar! The orange iguanas and the purple parrots did a great job. They're not going to go away empty-handed. Here's what we've got for them.
All signs point to one thing. There's no better break in the action than to chill out with chocolatey, Nestle Quick. Chocolate milk? Think quick.
As we continue our quest, it's now time for Olmec to tell us about the legend of the medal of Edmund Hillary.
The first 2 men to climb Mount Everest and stand at the top of the tallest mountain in the world were Edmund Hillary and his Sherpa guide Tenzing Norgay. Even if they could move quickly in their padded oxygen suits, there was no place to go. The ice was just yards away when it suddenly plunged into a deep crevasse and disappeared without a sound.
Whatever.
Your quest is to retrieve the medal and bring it back here.
Thank you, Olmec. So where is the medal?
The medal can be found in the room of the 3 torches.
Yes! Oh, looks like I forgot my knee bands in the locker dressing area, so the director just had every other kid take theirs off too. Oops!
Is Mount Everest in the Himalayas, the Urals, or the Alps?
Red Jaguars.
The Himalayas.
That is correct.
Nice job. Step down.
Which of these legendary creatures did Hillary go on another expedition to find? The Jabberwock, the Abominable Snowman, or the Velociraptor?
Silver Snakes.
Abominable Snowman?
That is correct.
Okay, we've got our first team that's going to the Temple Games.
Which of these do the people of Nepal call the Abominable Snowman? The Yeltsin, the Silver Monkey, or the Yeti?
Red Jaguar.
The Yeti.
That is correct.
Okay, come on. Red Jaguars, next correct answer. You're going to the Temple Game.
Which of these creatures is supposedly related to the Abominable Snowman?
Oh, wish I had knee pads on!
Frosty the Snowman.
Red Jaguars.
Bigfoot.
That is correct.
Our 2 teams here are going to go head-to-head in the Temple Games. The Red Jaguars and the Silver Snakes. Come on down here.
You're gonna see me do a lot of high five failing here, and that's a lesson I want to impart to you kids at home. Practice your high fives before the show starts. But hey, it could even happen to the host.
The rest of you guys did a great job. You're not going to go away empty-handed. Here's what we've got for you.
A singing machine, the portable home entertainment system that makes you the entertainment. Perform and record your favorite hits with complete musical accompaniment by the Singing Machine cassette arrangements.
2 teams will be playing for the right to enter Olmec's temple, and they'll do it right after this. Don't hurt me.
When it's 5-4 Central and you're up thirsting for some action, wet your whistle with the Wild Bunch. On Hey Dude, only Nick could round up a gang this good, this bad, and this gnarly. Every weekday at 5-4 Central.
Oh, Nelly!
The Wild Bunch. Rude dudes raring to go. On Hey Dude, every weekday at 5-4 Central on the only network for dudes.
Whoa!
So halfway through the day, they give us a bunch of pizza and Coke, And the kids were getting, I guess what I'd call rambunctious now. But luckily I had my talk boy with me, so this was 1993, so I was probably listening to...
Hello, Mother. Hello?
The Father.
Welcome back to Legends. Now the glory goes to the fastest and the strongest. But before we get started, I'd like to find out more about our team players.
This is always dead.
We have
Adam.
Adam, how old are you? Now, I heard you write your own comic strip?
Yes, it's called Dak and Friends.
Yeah, that's good, young Adam. Yeah, you want to self-promote yourself. I mean, the internet hasn't really been around that long and nobody has it, but hey, if you want to read my stuff, just track me down.
Wow, that's great. But let's not forget about the Silver Snakes. Okay, why don't you guys get ready for this next game, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen here. You can go ahead and take off and go right over there to that next game. In the temple games, each team is competing to win pendants of life. The winning team will need those pendants to protect them from the dreaded temple guards as they make their way through the temple. Set the clock for 60 seconds.
I remember this being particularly awkward because they didn't quite get the right shot of our team losing, so we had to fake losing again. Television, you're such a liar.
We place each of our players in a crevasse with 3 bags of camping gear. When I say go, the player inside will grab a bag, climb to the top, and throw it out the top of the crevasse. Then he'll climb back down and grab another.
Boy, I really eat ass on this one bad. We're about like up to our knees in popcorn peanuts and, you know, bags of stuff, and we're getting, you know, we stomp it down enough till we get comfortable, and right before they film, they dump 2 more bags of it on us.
When a glacier on Mount Everest starts to melt, there's no way to stop it. Fortunately, on our glacier, there is.
When I say go, one player from each team will climb up the ramp on their knees and then turn off the spigot and then slide back down.
Let's set the clock for 60 seconds. On your mark. Get set.
Go! There goes the water. You gotta stay on your knees, though.
Experts are unsure whether salmon navigate by memory, sense of smell, or by detecting variations in Earth's magnetic field.
Nice ball! But can the Red Jaguars catch up? They gotta get this one turned off fast. Oh, almost had it. On your knees. On your knees. On your knees.
Rules are for suckers.
Oh, that's it. Good job. Red Jaguars. Nice try. It was close there. Too bad you didn't get it in the last second. Almost turned the spigot.
You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
There were a lot of losers on Legends of the Hidden Temple, but there were a lot of losers on a lot of Nickelodeon game shows. This one's for you.
And JR, take a little drink of water. Wait to get outside the world is why the time goes by. The jury's out, right survives. I can't wait till I get home to pass the time in my room.
Oh, that's great.
Keep reaching for that flag.
That's too bad. Anyway, we have a nice gift for you, and here's what it is.
BK. Now, we weren't privy to what prizes we were going to win at the time. It was only announced to us as it was everybody else when it finally aired. I took home some fly new shoes, and weeks later, I got a package from Nick with my Legends t-shirt in it, and later, a letter and a Super Nintendo game from Acclaim itself. Also, for the Silver Snakes, I think they won the geography toys, but I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure their temple run was responsible for one of the many tragic Universal fires, now that I think of it. I think that's how Kong went up. Stone Stanley, the production company that made Legends, also came up with Funhouse, another kids' game show with a very familiar setup. The series has remained mystifyingly popular over the years, and even a follow-up movie has been warranted.
We did 5 shows a day.
So we would do the whole moat crossing. So we do all the moat crossings at once. Then we would switch and we'd do all the steps of knowledge second. Then we'd switch out and we'd do all the temple games. And then we'd switch out, and about hour 14 we'd bring out the final contestants to run the temple. So it was really extremely difficult for these kids because they had had pizza, they're all completely delirious, and now they have to figure out how to get through this intensely confusing temple. One kid once fell out of the temple, but luckily he was on the first floor. This one girl, bless her heart, she was like going through the temple. She was completely out of breath and she was gonna make it. She was on her way back and she got into the pit of despair, which was a whole bunch of little balls. And she got caught in the pit of despair and she was completely exhausted. And then she threw up into the pit of despair. And then they were like, cut! We had to shut the show down. We had to clean up the pit, which was, you know, it's like, you know, the ball pit? Like when you go to the, like IKEA, the ball pit, it's like somebody threw up in the ball pit. She was crying and she was upset. And we had to kind of like fix her and get her happy again and then reset her right in that spot and then, and go!
Producers were only allowed to give out 8 championships a year. So there was a budget. And that's the truth of that.
Around 1995, Nick Studios got some renovations and a new coat of orange and green paint, as well as logos from newer series like that game show no one watched and that ugly cartoon.
Who are you?
The High Plains Loser.
A lack of consistent filming there meant the tour changed a bit over the years, from focusing on the wardrobe and makeup more to eventually shortening the whole experience to half its original time, due to fewer and fewer series being produced there by the 2000s. After sending the Snick couch off with a contest winner in 2000, well, one of the 4 Snick couches, I think Shaq got one, Nick Studios auctioned off most of its sets and props and stars. Things looked hopeful with a slick new paint job in 2003 and the replacement of the Hanna-Barbera ride with a Jimmy Neutron / Nicktoons ride that I'll save for part 3 or this video will be 2 hours long. And although several pilots were filmed, none were really used, save for that one that turned out to be Backyardigans. With nothing being filmed but a short run of Nickelodeon Splat in 04, the studios officially died on April 30th, 2005. In 2007, the studio's corpse was kicked in the blue balls again by its replacement attraction starring the Blue Guys group.
I'm afraid I just blew myself. If I had to ask for an makeup on, blew myself early, long to get off.
I feel like a idiot.
Several props and junk were displayed for some time afterward to commemorate what was once a beautiful child TV farm. What happened to Nick? How did its audience change? Why'd they walk away? The slime is still here, but the tone is different.
We grew up.
My answer was we grew up.
So we could be kind of really courageous in what we did, and I think the more successful they became and the more attention that came to them, the more cautious maybe they had to be. Everything had to be a hit, everything had to be, and so that drives you maybe towards things that maybe are more formulaic and less experimental.
Nickelodeon went from being an earnest and lightly fun children's pacifier to loud, messy chicanery to wanting to be a distinct individual to wanting to be a cool teenager to, please God, I want to be hot and famous now!
Nickelodeon. Casually ask your daughter what that girl's name is, then take your laptop into the bathroom.
Nickelodeon Studios ran for almost 15 years with over 2,000 episodes of shows filmed there with so many notable landmarks that it would be hard to highlight just one.
The 1000th episode, Nickelodeon Wienerville.
The Universal Studios areas where we shot also the opening credits where we're jumping on the trampoline and stuff like that. We definitely had a lot of perks in Florida's amazing state.
That's where Clarissa filmed. That's where Gullah Gullah filmed. You to you.
The model of production that Nick Studios presented will probably never happen again, and its legacy and influence grows as Generation X and Y grow up and miss those old Nickelodeon days.
We've only got 9, maybe 10 years tops when we could giggle in church and chew with our mouths open and go days without bathing. We'll never have that freedom again.
In our final segment, we'll look at other Nickelodeon-based rides, events, and places you could have visited if you didn't live in Florida.
It'll be shorter than this, I promise.
We're
freeze the theme songs and roll the credits.
Whenever my life gets me so down, I know I can go down, 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 where the fun never ends. As long as the music keeps playing, you know what I'm saying. I know that I can.
As you know, Double Dare is the only game that can double your bucks. Here's how it works. I'll ask the question, and if you don't know the answer, then the other team hasn't got a clue. You can dare them to answer. They will double your money. Be careful. They can always double your answer. And then you have to give an answer.
Take one of the physical challenge.
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the Double Dare Rules Choir. All right. Any parents at home, that's our crew, and how many of you want your children to come here now?
Call the police.